All right, you ready?
Sure.
All right. On today's show, I welcome on a special guest. She is the head coach of Rhode Island College women's basketball team, and she's also the Little East Conference Coach of the Year recently. She is Coach Jenna Cosgrove. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for having me on.
Well, Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Happy to be on here.
Awesome, awesome. I'm glad to have you on the show. I really, appreciate your time and making time out of your day to come on the podcast. Coach, how did you? Before we get into your coaching career, I want to know how did you get into basketball? What made you start playing?
I come from a very competitive family, full of athletes and some coaches. So I just grew up as a little tomboy playing every sport, and basketball was the one I just loved the most. So it's funny because I grew up in a more of a football family and not so much basketball, but it's a sport that I fell in love with and just stuck with.
That's awesome. That's really great. And what was it like for you? Growing up and like being able to play in college. What was like that decision to go to Endicott?
Endicott was just a school that I ended up getting involved with in the recruiting process, and it was just a great mix. It's similar when I now recruit my own players. I try and tell them to find a school that you could play at and love, but also you love the school that you're at. And I love my experience being a D. That's kind of what obviously being a D3 athlete and now being a D3 head coach. It always was in the back of my mind that that's something that I'd love to, you know, everything that embodies being a D3 student athlete. And I've got my best friends and now their children that are in my lives to this day from my college experience. So it's a great experience that I've had.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Yeah, Endicott's also like a very beautiful campus from what I remember when.
Right on the beach.
Yeah, it looks like a golf course. That's what I thought of when I like first walked on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And then, coach, now, so when you finish up your playing career at Endicott, your final season was a great one with Endicott. When your final game, did you think about coaching right after, or did you like want to do something else? What was going through your mind, and how did you decide to get into coaching?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I remember when I was looking at schools, and my mom kind of saying to me, "Wow, you'd be a great coach." Like, didn't think that could be something you could, tie into. And I went and studied sport management at Endicott. I got my minor in coaching, and that was always in the back of my mind when I was younger, when I first started getting into school, when I first got into college. But then when you're playing and I did a bunch of internships, and it kind of was the last thing on my mind while I was in the moment in college. But it really was that year after I graduated where I realized that there was a whole world to get into with coaching. And, there's a lot of different avenues as far as being on a Division I staff, especially that I wasn't really aware of being a D3 student athlete. So it was that 1 year after college where I took a little bit of time and did some side jobs and was still living at home, but I was coaching. I coached at Sharon High. I coached AAU as well. And in that period, that 6 month period, I was driven to get into coaching. And that's ultimately what landed me at Fordham.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And did you do the USA basketball team, the women's basketball team before Fordham, or did you do it at like while
No,
you
that
were at
was
Fordham?
actually right in my transition between Fordham and Rhode Island College. So that was right before I became a head coach.
Oh wow, that's crazy. So what was your time like with Fordham, and then we'll go into U.S. Women's basketball. What was your time being part of a D1, Fordham being A10? Like, it sounds like you guys were like a powerhouse. When you turned into like a powerhouse back when you were
Mhm.
over there, and you were part of the coaching staff for 7 years.
Yeah, it was great. I'm from Sharon, Mass, so I was a 22-year-old moving to the Bronx, and it was, one of the biggest leaps of faith that I've ever taken, and I'm grateful to this day because ultimately it taught me everything I know, and most of what I do basketball-wise came from Fordham. But in that long time there, 7 years, I was able to be in multiple different roles and learn a great deal, not just about myself, but grow as a coach and as an educator. I got my master's, and yeah, we traveled all across the world. We went on a foreign tour to New Zealand, Fiji, and Australia. I recruited as far as Latvia.
Wow.
So just from all perspectives, international and national. I mean, and on such a big stage, I really got such a great experience.
That's awesome. And like, what's it like to like, come from as like a D3 player and then, coach high school and then go coach D1? Like, what's the biggest like, change and stuff that you have to like really like face when you like make that jump?
Yeah, I mean it's an everyday grind and it's a big business. I actually was a before I was an assistant, I was director of operations, and you know, I felt like at one point I could run, events, and you're in charge of 30-person travel party, and you're chartering planes, and you're it's just a lot more goes into it. The D3 level is a lot more simplistic, but at the D3 level as a head coach, I definitely feel like that experience made me prepared to be a lot more well-rounded to do a little bit of everything.
That's awesome. That's really cool. And I mean, that's an awesome experience to be, work at the D1 level and work for a great program like Fordham. And how did you get into the USA basketball?
Yeah, so that was through the Maccabi USA, and I actually got asked to be an assistant coach for that program. About a year out, we did tryouts, and they were actually held in New York, and I was at Fordham at the time, and we that took place the summer of 2017, and that was just a really great experience, and that had me involved with coaching not just Division 1 players but Division 3 as well, so it was a combination. Um, and really just the best experience about that, not only are you competing again, internationally and representing your country, but you're with a whole new group of kids, and being able to coach and prepare for a gold medal game within, a 2-week span. So
That's crazy.
build culture quick.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. That's wild. That's such a short term to try to get into the gold medal games itself, and that's wild. And you guys finished third that year, right?
No, we won the gold medal that year in Israel.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I read that wrong. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. So that was, and it was like, talk about, culture being a huge part of even what I preach every day in my program, but it's how do you build culture in such a quick span of all strangers, and that was probably one of the most unique part of that experience.
That's awesome. Is there like anything that like from that USA women's basketball run to the gold medal, anything that sticks out to you the most? Was it the gold medal, or was it just like just making those bonds in those 2 weeks? Or
Yeah, it was probably, I mean, it was definitely the bonds and the experience. And I mean, there's nothing really like it being able to wear whatever, level it's at, USA across your chest. And I didn't get to do that as a player, but just to be able to do that as a coach and, compete and, internationally was just a great experience. The gold medal was the best part too.
yeah, yeah. Where's the gold medal now?
That's framed in my office actually.
All right, all right, there you go. Do you ever just like want to take it out and wear it? Did you wear it around after you won it, or?
Looks good on the wall.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like would put it on the wall too. I'd probably lose it if I had that. Now, what's it like? Now you come to Rhode Island, you take over Rhode Island College women's basketball program. How do you develop culture and actually bring in your own coaching philosophy?
Yeah, as a brand new head coach, you really the first thing is just developing the relationships and developing trust. I had no, besides coming from a very dominant program and a history of winning, it wasn't my program. I was part of it, but it's developing that trust. And I was really grateful to come from Fordham, where that head coach, I had witnessed, a really unique part of my story is that when I was about 22 and I got to Fordham, that after that first year, the head coach was let go and the whole staff was let go. So I was also let go. And they actually asked to keep me on board to keep things running. That first year, I was the administrative assistant. So I was like an assistant director of ops. And ultimately, Coach Gately, the new head coach, came on and kept me. And so I witnessed her come in and take over a program that was bottom of the A10, and within 2 years be at the top of the A10.
Wow.
So and sustain that. I mean, we won a championship in 2014. So all in all, I got to witness culture change really quickly from the ground up from a really great coach, and that I took with me. That was the number one thing I probably took with me to Fordham. I mean, sorry, to Rhode Island College. I took over a program that just won 5 games. And of course you have to, bring in great recruits, and I did. I brought in some, Wilson McBurrow as Little League's Rookie of the Year, my first recruiting class, and but it's figuring out how you can get those recruits there, and really just getting them to buy into winning and taking small steps. I think back to my first year in 2017. I had some great kids. My two captains are in my life. All if they'll be in my life forever, but I get dinner with them like at least once a month, Amber and Jessa. And it wasn't a talented group of kids, but they worked so hard and they ran through the wall, for our program. And it was teaching just the little things that could get you to win a game. Like, we preach defense, got that from Fordham. They're always top in the country in defense. Um, but it was just having that grit and that tenacity that won us a few games we had no business winning.
Wow, that's awesome, and then that's great that you were able to come in and win. What you won 9 or 10 games, correct? Your first season, right?
Yeah, we won 9 games. Yep.
That's awesome. And what's it like every year that you've been there? I feel like the wins have increased, and you go from 9 to then like 19 and then 22. Like what's that like to every year have like just another year of development and another year of like winning and another year of winning, like to be able to flip that program, move in such a short time.
Yeah, I mean it's totally nice to win.
Yeah.
A little bit of a rough year sometimes, but it's the players, and it's I've got, I knock on wood and pray every day that we have a season this year because I've got such good kids, and it's taken a while to get those type of kids. But it's finding the kids in the program that will give you your heart and max effort and win games. And I brought in, I've had some great assistants, and I've got my two best right now. I mean, terrific assistant coaches and just really good kids. And that's what wins games. And we hit the recruiting trail really hard, and we've brought in a couple big classes, which is nice now that we are winning. The program is starting to sell itself more, because the school sells. It's getting the kids there. It's a beautiful campus, and we have a lot to offer from a Division III athletic standpoint, like facility wise, and study hall, committed to the athletes, and even our academics. So it's really now just a matter of getting those kids. And my staff and I have we've done a really good job of trying to find who represents our school the best, and that increases our wins, just getting the right players.
That's awesome. I mean, that's great, and it sounds like between your recruiting and your coach staff and yourself that Rick is very lucky to have you as a coach and your coaching staff as along with your players that are attending Rick as well too. So Rick is very very fortunate to have you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And now, what was it like? Because you won Coach of the Year in your conference. What is that like? What's that feeling like to be honored with such a great award?
Yeah, it was really nice to be recognized. I mean, I was super pleased, but it couldn't have been happened without my staff and my players. The same two coaches I have right now are on my staff last year, and Coach DeFeria and Coach Porsick, and my players. I mean, nothing could have been possible without them. And I even this year, like going into, just they lost two great kids out of graduation, and then this year, you know, I look at the team and I'm like, you don't get it's there's never a day where I'm like, oh man, this kid's pissing me off, or they're not give they're not doing what they're told. They're terrific kids. So I really just hope that we get a chance to play.
So too.
And I know, you mentioned like increasing the wins. This is the best team that I've ever had, hands down.
Wow.
Yeah, so well, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been really blessed to have a terrific group, and I can't say it's been that every year. I think it's taken that 3 years, 4 years to really find a special group and develop it. And I'm fortunate it happened, in that 4 years.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. I feel bad too because of with everything that's going on with COVID. I mean, what's it like to come into a season where you're not probably in your like in your career of basketball that you've been playing, not actually start a season like right when you're supposed to start a season, like in November, December area time.
Yeah, it's tough, and I really do. I am grateful to our athletic administration because we're like one of the only D3 conferences still left standing in the Northeast. And there aren't many schools that were able to continue practicing after, I would say, even after Halloween. There was like a stretch where a lot of schools shut down for Division 3. So we were able to practice October, no, most of November, and then we were actually gearing up to play Brian, which is on your sweatshirt. I won't give you, I won't, I'll cut you some slack.
Yeah.
But and unfortunately, that didn't get to happen either. But it's tough. I mean, the kids. I'll give my kids a lot of credit because they don't complain. They don't say what if, what if. They just come in and they've all improved. So I'm really excited for what I hope to be a season starting January 23rd, um, because I think that because they put so much work in this off season, they've got in Division 3. You don't get a lot of time to just work on player development.
Yeah.
In Division 1, you get a lot of time for that, and that's something that I think all our kids really took advantage of. So, it's exciting right now. The Little East is preparing for a 10-game season. Um, 3 teams are out of the 9, so there's 6 teams, and we're hoping to play for a championship. So
That'd be awesome. So what happens now if you guys do play? Is there any other Division 3 schools that are playing? Will there be a possibility of a tournament, or is it just going to be conference play?
yes, there is still the possibility of a tournament of a national championship. So, of course, there's a lot of teams that are also out, but we just got to play you know what's given to us. So at this point, we've already hit obstacles. I mean, my team, we've been through the testing. We know what it takes. It's definitely been detrimental on the student athlete experience, and that's the part that's tough. Um, you
Yeah.
know, there's times we're practicing in pods, is 6 at a time, 6 kids at a time. You don't really get that scrimmage time, um, and so it's different. It's completely different. But I'm just fortunate. I don't have kids that, at least to me, they don't say a word to me. They stay hopeful. And then every kid's granted back a year of eligibility.
That's good.
The only downfall in Division 3 is, at least for our team, I've got my 2 seniors are 4.0 rock stars. I mean, they're terrific on the court, but they're even better in the classroom. And one's trying to go to a top 25 law school. The other one's trying to go to URI, I think, for physical therapy. So, it doesn't work out for everybody. So they're hoping to just win a championship.
Oh, that would be great. I mean, hopefully it works out for you guys that you guys are able to have a season and make that championship run. It's obviously a difficult time, but that they're given the eligibility to it with that year. But still, I've been saying this for all the seniors too, for high school and anyone that's going through their senior season. It sucks to go through this during your senior year. It's supposed to be, your most fun time of the year. It's supposed to be the fun that you have make a championship run. It's tough. It's got to be tough on those seniors as well too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, Coach, I got a couple more questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Is there a game that last year that really sticks out to you that you enjoyed, or like that like was really just like a lot of fun, or like anything that really stuck out of your mind from last year's season?
Yeah, the game that stands out in my mind the most is probably, there's a flip side to it, but we played at Eastern, who had just knocked off, I think it just knocked off, a couple top teams, and they're in our conference, and we played at Eastern on the road. My captain, who's my captain again this year, Brooke Young, terrific kid, one of our starters. She was down, she couldn't play, she had a foot injury, but she told me in the locker room. So we're adjusting on the fly, and she's a big key to our offense and our defense. So, but we went out there, and I've never seen my team play so well. I mean, it was high tempo. They didn't care we were on the road, and we ended up winning by, I think, at least 18, 20 points to the top ranked team. So that was a huge, huge win. And on the flip side, they got us in the championship. So I know that's a big revenge for us headed into this season.
That'd be awesome. Well, I hope you guys are able to play season and be able to face them and get that revenge game.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be awesome. Now, what's your favorite thing to do outside of basketball?
Favorite thing, well, I just adopted a dog.
Nice.
His name's Jake, and he's 3 legs, and he's the
Oh,
cutest thing. So that's my favorite thing to do outside of basketball right now is play with Jake.
oh, that's awesome. That's great that people who play with dog keeps you entertained, keeps you happy too during all these tough times as well with everything that's going on. So that's
Yeah,
so cute.
I'm a dog person, so yeah.
Yeah, I got two of my own. I got two beagles. So they're sisters. They drive me nuts sometimes, but I love them. uh, well, Coach, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for making time every day and to come on the show. This was great. And if you guys do have a season, if there is some way for fans to be there, I'll definitely be at some games for sure. Or if there's a way I can watch a game, I'll definitely be watching and
Awesome.
cheering
We'll
you
hook
guys.
you up with a shirt so you can remove the Bryant one.
Yeah, I gotta get the rig basketball. That's it. That's the next one.